Myself, Mr. Manideep Gupta, Assistant Professor, Department of Aeronautical Engineering, MLR Institute of Technology, Hyderabad. Today, the topic which we are going to discuss is Introduction to Aerospace Propulsion 1. Okay. Before starting the presentation, let us go with the overview of today's presentation. Okay. So, the first topic is meaning of words in aerospace propulsion. Next, types of aerospace vehicles, engines used in different aerospace vehicles, basic principle of aerospace propulsion, classification of air and non-air breathing engines, basic parts of air breathing engine and basic parts of non-air breathing engines. So, these are the topics which we are going to discuss today. So, let us start with the topic. Okay. First, we discuss about the meaning of word aerospace propulsion. Okay. So, the subject name is aerospace propulsion, right. So, we have to understand what is the meaning of this name, like word, it has three words: aero, space and propulsion. So, let us discuss about this aerospace propulsion. So, first one is air. Air means the earth atmosphere. Okay. So, whatever the earth atmosphere, that is up to 100 kilometer altitude from the sea level, which is around the earth, that is comes under earth atmosphere. Okay. Coming to the second word, space. Space which is considered from 100 kilometer from the sea level. So, whatever the region, suppose if you take earth here. So, if you take a distance of 100 kilometer from the sea level and whatever the region beyond this limit, which is nothing but considered as a space. Okay. Next, propelling of bodies. What is propulsion? Propulsion means propelling of bodies or objects. That means it deals with the motion of objects or bodies. Okay. So, finally, coming to the three words: aero, space and propulsion. Aero means air, space means okay, that outer earth atmosphere, and propelling of bodies. So, in this aerospace propulsion name is explaining us, it is going to deal with the vehicles movement which are moving in either in air and also in space. So, in aerospace propulsion, we are going to discuss about the vehicles which travels in air and space. Next, what are the vehicles that travel in air and space? Aeroplanes, helicopters, missiles, rockets, space shuttles and satellites, etc. So, these are all the vehicles which travel either in air or space. So, next we discuss the types of engines that are used for different aerospace vehicles. Okay, coming to the first, aeroplanes and helicopters. So, for aeroplanes and helicopters, we use reciprocating piston engines and turbojet engines, etc. So, this is the reciprocating engine and this is a example of a turbojet engine. So, this is used for aircrafts and this is generally used for helicopters, and previously we used these reciprocating engines even for the aircrafts, but these reciprocating engines are low speed and we can move the vehicle with high speed with the help of this aircraft jet engines. Okay, next coming to the engines of missiles, rockets and space shuttles. So, if you come to this, liquid solid propellant rocket engines are used for missiles, rockets and space shuttles. Okay. So, this first figure is like you can see here the liquid propellant engine, and this is a solid propellant rocket motor. These two types of engines are used for missiles, rockets and space shuttles. Next, the last one, satellites. Okay, for satellites we use electrical, electromagnetic and solar thrusters, etc. Okay. So, these are the electric propulsion satellites. Okay, you can see here in this figure, and this is a ion thruster and this is Hall effect thrusters. So, like these type of engines are used for satellites which travels in the space. So, next coming to the prerequisites for this subject aerospace propulsion. Okay. So, before to understand this subject in a very good manner, you should have a good knowledge in these following subjects. One is fluid mechanics, aerodynamics and thermodynamics. So, if you know about these three subjects, fluid mechanics, aerodynamics and thermodynamics, then you can easily understand the subject aerospace propulsion. Okay. Next, the basic principle of propulsion. Okay. What are the basic principles involved aerospace propulsion? So, the first one is Newton's second law and next Newton's third law. So, what is Newton's second law? Newton's second law is nothing but the force exerted by or on a body is equal to the rate of change of momentum by or on the body. Okay. Newton's second law is the force exerted on or by a body is equal to the rate of change of momentum by or on the body. And if you turn this statement into an equation, it will be F is equal to dmv by dt. Here mv means momentum. Okay. dmv by dt means rate of change of momentum. Okay. And Newton's third law, that is for every action there is equal and opposite reaction. Okay, these are the two principles which are involved in the aerospace propulsion. Coming to the next topic, that is classification of aerospace engines. So, mainly the aerospace engines are classified into two types. One is air breathing engine and non-air breathing engines. Okay, coming to air breathing engines, we have reciprocating engine, piston engines and turbine engines. All these comes under air breathing engines. Coming to the non-air breathing engines, liquid, solid propellant, rocket engines and electrical, electromagnetic and solar thrusters, all these comes under non-air breathing engines. Okay, what is air breathing engine and what is non-air breathing engine? Air breathing engine means it takes oxygen from the atmosphere. Air breathing engines takes oxygen from atmosphere. Non-air breathing engines, we have to provide oxygen through tank. We have to provide a separate oxygen tank for non-air breathing engines, and air breathing engines take oxygen directly from the atmosphere to burn the fuel in the combustion chamber. So, this is the basic difference between air breathing engines and non-air breathing engines. So, from this you can see, that means reciprocating engines, piston engines, turbine engines, all these engines will take oxygen from the atmosphere and burn the fuel. Okay. And next, liquid propellant engines, solid propellant rocket engines, electrical, electromagnetic. For all these engines, you need to provide a separate oxygen tank. Next, the topic is about air breathing engines. Okay, what is air breathing engine and how it look like, and what are the basic components, and how what are the different types of air breathing engines. Okay, coming to the air breathing engines, we already discussed, right? Air breathing engines takes oxygen from the atmosphere and fuel is supplied from the fuel tanks for the combustion process. Coming to the types of different jet engines, first one is turbojet, turboprop, turbofan, ramjet, scramjet and pulsejet, etc. So, these are the different types of jet engines which we have, and even some combinations of like a non-air breathing and air breathing engines also there, like a turbo ramjet, etc. Okay, all these comes under air breathing engines, different types of air breathing engines which comes under jet engines. Right, next coming to the parts of air breathing engines. So, here you can see the air breathing engine. This is the air breathing engine, right. So, first the part is in the basic components of air breathing engine. The first one is fan, next low pressure compressor, high pressure compressor, low pressure shaft which is connected with a low pressure compressor, next high pressure shaft which is connected to the high pressure compressor. You can see the color coding. The high pressure shaft is in brinjal color, and even high pressure compressor, that is also in the same color. So, that means the shaft is connected to that particular propeller, and that green color shaft, that is low pressure shaft, that is connected with this low pressure compressor. You can see this to understand, we made the same color coding here. And the next component is a combustion chamber. This yellow color one, this is a combustion chamber. Next, high pressure turbine. This is high pressure turbine. Next, low pressure turbine. This is a low pressure turbine. And next, nozzle. Okay, this is the nozzle. These are the main components of an air breathing engine or a jet engine. Okay. Next, coming to non-air breathing engines. Example is rocket engine. All rocket engines comes under non-air breathing engines. Okay, this is the diagram of a non-air breathing engine. Okay. So, non-air breathing engines carry an oxygen supply along with fuel tank. These can be used both in atmosphere and in outer space, that means which is a region 100 km from the sea level. General types of liquid propellant and solid propellant. Okay. Coming to the parts of non-air breathing engines, the first one is a oxidizer tank. This is the oxidizer tank. Next, fuel grain. This is the solid rocket motor, which is a solid rocket motor. This is a fuel grain, fuel. Next, this part is a nozzle. This is a fuel injector, and here you will have one valve to control the flow of oxygen into the combustion chamber. Next, this is the igniter by which we generate a spark and we start ignition, and even we continue the combustion process. Summary of today's topics: meaning of words in aerospace propulsion, types of aerospace vehicles, engines used in different aerospace vehicles, basic principle of aerospace propulsion, classification of air and non-air breathing engines, brief discussion about the basic parts of air breathing engine and basic parts of non-air breathing engines. Thank you.